Here we go. Radical Jack here. Day 21. 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean we broke the back of it now. This is it. Now it's just consistency, longevity. Yeah, anything can happen. Just like the snow came in. And messed up my little thread there with the hill climbs. But it's all good. Ultimately, it's all about the fast more than anything else. Those were added bonuses, and I was enjoying them too, and it's so easy to fall back into not really on the one hand I was missing it, but didn't really replace it because I was stuck indoors, and yeah, it's interesting, how easy it is to fall back into old patterns, if you like, and I got up to Lough Crew for the first time today. Couldn't make it yesterday; the road was still blocked. But thanks to Lara, thank you, Lara, for pointing the way around the back end, which was clear, luckily, and yeah, I really felt it. I felt it on my legs, and when you're still walking, there's still snow up there. It kind of doubles the weight, but I've been doing Lough Crew. Well, no, I've been doing Ishnok I've had 3-4 evenings of Lough Crew, but it's not as elevated, and wow, really felt it last night. So that is one of the things, how easy it is, to keep a kind of discipline and stuff like that, and then forget about the maintenance, because the hard work, once the hard work's over, then it's just maintenance. And I feel like I'm heading in that direction now at the moment, where I'm just maintaining the diet now, and the hard work's over in the mindset, and I'm pulling in energy from previous fasts and previous achievements, and goals that were attempted or set, that at least got a period of time out of, might not have reached the absolute, goal, but still the practice, something was attained, So pulling on that energy, pulling on those past, achievements, like I said, is it really helps, So as if you're trying out something for the first time and it's new to you, it's just to know that it does get easier, as you go along. And you may fall back into old patterns once you've achieved that. Say, like, you've given up sugar for Lent, and it's like, I really highly recommend that you kind of look at it as a kind of okay, well, how do I feel? How did I feel about this? Now can I continue this, and find some alternatives to sugar, especially that white sugar, that crystal cocaine, because it is like cocaine for the brain. Now, there's lots of alternatives. Honey is the obvious one, agave syrup. They're low glycemic, you're looking at the scale of what they call the glycemic levels, some are higher than others, but I know agave syrup, maple syrup, they're fairly low, honey is totally natural, and probably really as low as them all. But they're good alternatives, To try not to heat honey, though, is definitely something, to research it, it's all right, if you got to do it, you put a little spoon in your tea instead of sugar, I can guarantee you that you won't notice the difference after a while if that's what you're used to, But in the same way as not doing it at all, your tea will suddenly, you'll acclimatize to it, and it'll taste grand, It's just getting over these things, So now let me see. I was gonna talk about a few things today in relation to where I'm at, in relation to my energy. There's definitely moments where I feel a bit weak, but it's still normal. I'm still trying to normalize my body, getting used to the 1 meal a day, 23 hours, not eating anything, just complete fast. So my body's adjusting, but this is the best time of year, you know, for this, you know, because we would, without the supermarkets, we'd be running out of food now, you know, the last of the pickles and the jars, you know, whatever it is that we've managed to, you know, cure or whatever, you know, it'd be gone now. But we'd have, you know, the nettles and the first spring onion, you know, and the wild ramson, you know, the cleavers are coming, you know, there'll be lots of greens, you know, coming, and these are all naturally, you know, good cleansing greens, you know, for the organs, the kidneys, you know, and the liver and the blood, you know. So this is it. This is a good time to be light, you know, so that you can give your body a chance to, you know, heal itself, you know, and cleanse itself, you know. So, you know, and there is that kind of, you know, macrobiotic kind of divide the 24 hours into 3/8, you know. And so from 4 o'clock in the morning, your body's in cleansing mode till 12 o'clock midday. So to try and at least, you know, miss out on breakfast and keep it down to 2 meals a day. You don't have to go completely, you know, mad into it, like, you know, but certainly, you know, cutting out the sugar is a big thing, you know. And bread. I mean, you know, when it comes to bread, you know, you may not look at these things, but bread is going to be, you know, it's going to be baked with tap water, you know, which is you know, low in minerals itself. It's probably you know, it's got all these chemicals in it. But the main thing, if it's not organic, you know, is that it's going to have Roundup in it, you know, and this is a major problem for us, you know. It's not a good chemical, this, you know. So I might have mentioned this before, but like spelt, get that into your head. It's an original strain of wheat, and if you're celiac or you have wheat allergy or whatever, you know, try spelt, because you might be able to stomach this. You do get spelt and rye mixed together sometimes, but again, you got to watch out for non-organic breads. You know, it's got to be organic, and even if you get organic, you know, white flour. You know, it can still affect you, you know. And again, as I said, you know, what's it been baked in, you know, and da, da, da. So, you know, baking your own bread is essential, and getting your well water, good spring water, you know, find the wells, you know, that are closest to you, and get your water like that. So, but yeah, bread is something that we tend to stuff into ourselves, you know, to fill this hole, you know, especially that feeling of not, you know, just feeling full enough, you know, after eating our foods, you know. We can go back to the cupboards and eat bread, and, you know, blah blah blah. But bread is most definitely something to watch, you know, in relation to putting on weight as well. You know, you can stuff yourself with all sorts of things, you know, in relation to bread, and that's with all the other foods and stuff like that. And you may not think that it's you know, doing you any harm, but, you know, it can be quite. It's heavy, high carbs, you know. So yeah, and like buckwheat is an alternative too, wheat as well. It makes great pancakes, and you know, you can use that to bake bread as well. So yeah, these are a few things, you know, and so, you know, bicarbonate soda as well is also really good. You know, you can make a mix with some cider vinegar, you know, get some organic cider vinegar. And this helps alkaline your system as well during the process of, you know, letting these things go, you know. So, you know, yeah, I've been speaking to loads of people while I was in town today, and, you know, it's amazing how suddenly the conversation turns to, you know, and indirectly most of the time in relation to, you know, what I'm going through, and you know, what people are talking about is, if, you know, they're tapping in psychically to what I'm actually doing, and then we end up in a conversation that's relative to where they're at and what they think they can or can't do. So, you know, what came up with one lady in the bank was, you know, just the kind of, like, she was digging everything, and was like, I know. And I said, look, you could keep this really simple, you know. Just think seasonally, yeah. For starters, this is a good thing, a good way of, you know, tapping into this. What you can and can't do, because thinking seasonally is thinking environmentally and all those kinds of things all across the board, you know, because it takes time, energy, money, oil, tankards, everything to get that stuff to us, when it's not even in season. So that's it. I've said this before, but I'm sorry for reiterating. But it's this is really worth tuning into. And then the second thing is the sugar. Okay, just cutting that out means that you're going to cut out practically all the processed food. Right down to the can of beans, because it's all got sugar in it, the cornflakes, the cereals, the things that are not really, they're just puffed up food. They're no good to you. They're not natural. What you really need now is greens, lots of greens and grains. And, if you're still eating meat, that's fine, carry on as you were, but, to cut out on all that stuff that's surrounded by packaging and generally laced with sugar, it's used as a preservative, and a little bit's not going to do you any harm if that's what you need to do, But the main thing that came up, like when I was, in order to keep yourself steady, is if you have children, the best way and the only real way you're actually going to teach your child anything really that's going to stay with them is to lead by example. So in other words, you have this extra power, if you like, in your your ability to achieve great things within your diet that you already know you need to change, or you already understand, or you have common sense in and around it, but this should be a good motivation for you, because however old your child is, child could be like one and gaga, not able to speak, but you think, oh, they're not watching. They're watching everything. Every single thing you do, they're watching, and they're ready to mimic it. So you really want to bring them up in the correct manner, This should be motivation enough for you, in relation to, inspiration, and really leading by example then is a great way of teaching them, and it's really simple, just getting them to, there's not much you need to do. It's just that, helping them to learn how to think for themselves, But at the same time, guidance in that form, in that way, is motivational for you. But it just means that basically, they have respect for you, and eventually, when they learn the word hypocrite or hypocritical, or hypocrisy and so on, yeah. You'll have. They may need to make mistakes. Of course they will. And they ought to be allowed to make those mistakes, because you're guaranteed. If they're allowed to make mistakes, they get over it really fast. But when you're on them all the time about their mistakes and this, that, and the other, and you don't give them a chance or an opportunity to do that, you'll find that they'll find it really hard to get into those things, and especially small children, because they like the attention when you're on them about doing stuff, because it's attention at the end of the day. As soon as you don't, you take the attention away, they get over stuff really fast, whatever it is, pulling stuff out of the cupboards. As soon as you put energy on it, boom, they're going to keep doing it because they're getting attention. So to look at the psychology of this, and definitely if you have children, this is great motivation for you to make that change within the diet, especially if they're really young, because they'll not know any different then. And when they come to taste the crap that's outside the house and friends and birthday parties or wherever, you'll find that they probably won't like it. They're like, ugh, I'm not going to eat that, And of course, you're building a really solid, fluid, beautiful human being, who's already totally aware of all the food groups and what's good and what's not. And even if they need to go down these roads themselves, allowing them to, at some point is part of the letting go for yourself, because ultimately what will happen is they will come back to your example and your way of thinking eventually, and so this is really, really, really good, especially the young, to have a sugar-free house. And just say, look, it's like, you wouldn't want your child doing heroin, would you? You wouldn't like your child doing certain drugs or smoking or whatever. You don't want them to do these things, So I don't see why it shouldn't be the same thing. The truth about sugar is out there. Check it out. It is the #1 drug on the planet, and it's related to a lot of disease in us and our family and the whole planet. Blessed be, time's up again, and appreciate your time. Lots of love and peace.